Montrell, man, you were gone last week on vacation. How was your vacation, sir?
um, it was okay. It was interesting.
It was okay. It was just okay. Come on, bro. Well, man, what happened? What happened, Montrell?
I mean, I was
What
really
did your
happy to see
family
my
do to you while you were there?
I was really happy to see my family, but some
Mhm.
deep family drama kind of secrets came out and everything like that I didn't even know
Mm.
about.
Ooh, yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
so that happened. Um, so the first day I got there at like 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Hmm.
Nothing happened. I went to my parents' house. The next day, my dad's birthday was on the 13th, but he was
Yeah.
celebrating his birthday on the 17th.
Okay.
So, which was that weekend. So we went to the casino. So for people that don't know, casinos are illegal in Texas, but they're really legal, super legal in Michigan. So we went to the MGM Grand Casino. Um, he rented out this whole area for himself,
Yeah.
like this little booth this booth
Damn, dude.
and like
Jesus.
two tables
Yeah.
for like 10 or
Yeah.
20 people or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was another booth right next to us that was rented out as well.
Yeah.
And whatever. Everybody's having a good time. I'm the designated driver because I really don't drink anymore like
Yeah.
that. I may drink one, two, or drink socially, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have any drinks that night. I was the designated driver. So yeah, my parents, everybody was having fun, and my family was over there having fun. Some of my cousins and stuff. And then people started fighting next to us. Like just randomly started fighting.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And I got really irritated because I had to hurry up and move my brother because my brother he has a sickness now, so he's like in a walker now. So I had to hurry up and move him out the way because he was like sitting. You know how booths are in like the conjoining booth,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
over there. So like yeah, they were like fighting and they almost bumped into him. So I had to move him. I had to hurry
Oh
up and get him and move him.
god.
And
Yeah.
if they would have hit him, then I would have had to jump into the fight.
Yeah.
So it was
Right.
just I was just on edge the entire night, and after that, like everybody else was still having fun, but I was still on edge the entire night because people were like trying to come over there and like come in our booth and everything, and I was just like, "No, we here." So I had to like play kind of like little mini security and like look out for everybody.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
it was just weird, and I was just like, it wasn't weird. It was like welcome back to Detroit. This is what I gotta expect. Um,
Yeah. I get you.
uh, yeah. So besides that, everything was cool. I met one of my friends in Cleveland. Um, I drove out to Cleveland. Cleveland was like 2 hours. It's actually a nice city. The part we were in, it's a nice city or whatever. So, um, yeah, I drove back. And I drove around. I just drove around Detroit and stuff like that, seeing my family, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I really didn't have. I had like 1 or 2 days to just like do nothing, and I
Mm.
did nothing that
Mhm.
entire day besides like take a shower. But I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
there. Like midweek, it switched from 80 degrees to 60 degrees, and then like 50 degrees. Like Tuesday,
Nice.
and it was
Yeah.
fucking heaven. Like I was like, yo, this is what I miss. Like I miss.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Boston's like the same way because I think y'all have a lot of
Yes.
trees and stuff out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we have a lot of trees and like a lot of green. And I think you would think Texas is like that too. Like you see all the green and shrubbery around there, but it's nothing compared to like Michigan. And I'm pretty sure it's nothing compared to like Boston,
Well, yeah, dude.
Northeast
You
area.
go to like out of the city. There's certain sections of Massachusetts. Yeah, dude. It's just the highway is just lined with trees that are like wild and unkempt and out of control. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. It
like
is like that in Michigan too. And
yeah,
it was just like green and got little specks of orange because like the leaves were changing and everything. And we have a lake, we have a lot of trails and stuff like that. And it's this huge lake out there, like a natural lake. I
yeah.
don't know, like stuff like that. Coming back to Texas, it made me feel very sad as far as like nature and everything, because like a lot of stuff is man made out here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and just seeing all that natural beauty out there, not huge valleys of just grassland, which I think is cool out here in Texas when you go outside the cities. But even when you're like driving in between the cities of like Ann Arbor and Detroit and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that, and even when you're in Detroit, it's just so much green and shrubbery and like rivers and stuff like that that just flow through everything. It was
Yeah.
just really nice to be back in that kind of environment. Um,
It's funny how you take it for
I don't
granted
know
when you live there. It's something that you like
exactly.
barely pay
Yeah,
attention to when I live there. And then yeah,
yeah,
when I go back, I'm like looking out the window and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like,
yeah. And I forgot, like my parents when they moved out to like the countryside of but like they live in a
Mm.
cul-de-sac or
Hmm.
whatever. So
Okay.
so it's like a whole bunch of houses, in that little cul-de-sac, but
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
outside of that it's like country.
Hmm.
So yeah, I forgot about that part of Michigan. Like I just forgot about how wild and untamed a lot of the land is compared to like Texas. You would think Texas is that, but like when I went back to Michigan, that was Michigan. Like my idea, like the wild frontier was like Michigan.
Yeah,
Um,
wild out here is just like really tall grass or like weeds, like in the
yeah,
middle of a field. That's wild.
yes. So I don't know. I enjoyed my stay there, just looking around. Um, I am thinking about moving back, but that's a lot 2 or 3 years from now. Um, my
Man.
my parents my parents are begging me to move back for like family reasons and stuff like that, and I've been thinking about it. Um, but that's like I said, that's like 2 or 3 years
Well, do
from
what you
now.
got to do,
So
man. But,
yeah.
I mean, all your friends are here, bro.
Yeah, I
uh,
know. I have a whole family down here now that that I made with you guys and
hmm.
everything. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot to consider. It's definitely a
Yeah, I
lot.
know. I mean, do what you got to do, though. Of course, it's always your decision. So, but yeah, man. I mean, the weather here while you were gone kind of cooled a little bit. We're kind of
Hmm.
edging into fall. It feels like finally. So it's not as oppressively hot. It still was pretty hot though, like even as late as last weekend. So just ready for some cool air to start coming in. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But all right. Hi everybody. Welcome to the Players Take episode 189. I'm your host Justin DeSimone, joined by the man you've been hearing, Montrell Rice, my co-host. Uh Montrell, you want to just jump
Yes,
right into
sir.
it this week, or
Yes, sir.
anything else you want to talk about? No, okay, let's just jump right in. So, all right, everybody, for those of you who haven't listened to our show before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01 at gmail.com. All right, Montreal. Let's just jump right in, dude. It's been a couple weeks since we talked, so just give me an update on what you've been playing. It seems like it's just been Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Based on some text you sent me, you've gotten fairly deep in the game at this point. So give me the rundown, man. Where are you at?
So I don't know if I'm on chapter 4 or 5, but I am at just after you get to sword base, or I call it sword base. But you
Sword
get to the
base.
sword
Sword March, yeah.
sword march.
Sword March.
So I met Vandom's daughter. I mean that's not really a spoiler or anything like that. So I met Vandom's daughter and everything like that, and then she sent me on a mission. I actually forgot what the mission is because I
Yeah, I
just
think
been
you're in chapter
exploring.
5.
Yeah. So I've just been exploring because I like since I caught up with y'all almost. You beat the game, but Andy still hasn't beaten the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just been exploring instead of trying to power through it, and I actually having a lot of fun just exploring. I think for this game, I know like in the previous games you get like weapons and stuff like that, or you
Mm-hmm.
get blades.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like discovering the classes you get just by doing random shit. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like the best aspect of the game is just getting random classes
Yeah.
to add to your party and everything like that, or random heroes to add their classes to your party and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um I'm severely overpowered right now, so I had to up the difficulty because I was getting bored. I was playing on normal, so I upped the difficulty to
Oh
hard.
my god.
Um
Yeah.
so I'm playing it on hard right now, and it's actually giving me a good challenge. It took me a while to beat this side boss. I beat the boss, or like one of those side monsters or whatever, one of those field bosses.
Yeah.
That has a statue. I beat him on normal, and then
Yeah.
I wanted to go back and beat him on hard. So I actually went back, and it took like a day and a half to beat him on hard, but I beat him. But it was like a good challenge. It was fun, like trying to use my classes that I had to my advantage and items and stuff like that.
So are you
I
like
don't
full
know.
completing all the side content too as you go, or
Almost, yeah. Like only thing I'm really not doing is like
Jesus,
uh
man?
those manuscripts or whatever,
Yeah.
not manuscripts, but those there's one that kind of constantly refill themselves for
Oh,
the
the collection things. Yeah.
yeah, the collection things. But I've
Yeah.
done almost every quest that I've encountered so far. I've done. And then when I unlock more quests, I go ahead and do those quests. I don't know. I'm just really enjoying the game. Like I didn't like it at first. Like
Yeah.
the game starts. This probably has the worst start of all the games. Like, and that's coming really bad from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Um, because it starts off really strong. You got that 3-person party. So it's
Yeah.
like, yes, Xenoblade 1 again.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
goes to 6, and you're like, what the fuck?
Well, and
And
then the game
and you're
slows down for 25 hours and like
exactly.
nothing happens.
Exactly. And then combat wise, you don't unlock your canceling. Like I would say, well, in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, you unlock canceling like as soon as you get other abilities. Like that's
Yeah.
just a given. And I love that for
Yeah.
the game. I don't know why they gatekeeped it in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You can cancel your auto attacks, but you can't cancel your arts. And you unlock that like, maybe like 10 or 20 hours to the game, depending on how well you get your TP skill, your chart up.
Yeah.
Uh, but this game, they actually gatekeeped it until a part of the story until you get a certain character
Probably
that's
like halfway
it's
through the game, I
yeah,
would
halfway
say.
through the game.
Yeah.
Um, and that character, when you get the ninja character, I'm not gonna say her name or anything like that, but you get like a certain ninja character. And then she gives you the ability. It's like, oh, now you can start doing the canceling. And it's like it gives you no rhyme or reason why. It's like a
Oh, it's just
text why you can
random,
do
dude.
it.
It's just like given
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, there's no explanation or anything. Yeah.
And I
They're just
think
like,
that
you can
hurt.
now cancel arts. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, and I think honestly, that hurts this game a lot.
Hmm.
If they gave you the ability to cancel arts, like just did like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 style, this game
Yeah.
would be a lot better at the beginning. I think it would pull a lot more people in.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Xenoblade. I can't really recommend it to people because it is a fucking commitment. Like you
Hmm.
have to commit to this game to get what you want to get out of it.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, once I unlocked the canceling, um, and I stopped focusing on trying to control everybody in the party, and I just controlled one person I like. Once I stopped doing that, because the AI is actually pretty decent in this game compared to the other games. Um, in certain situations where when I have to do like
Hmm.
one thing I don't like about the game is it's like an MMO, but they don't give you like field of view attacks. So like when an enemy's about to do an attack, like I don't know if you fought the claw monsters, like the scorpion claw monsters, they do
Yeah.
this forward attack that
Hmm.
like they spray water and it's like a forward cone attack. Like they should like have a cone
Well,
like
it's
Final Fantasy.
weird. It's weird that you say that because some parts of the game, certain enemies and bosses do have that shit. You know.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay, maybe I didn't get
you
that.
fought one of them actually.
Oh yeah, he does
after the
show it. Yeah,
mine, yeah, there's like that whole section, and there's a few other enemies that do it, but yeah, it's not consistent at all. Um,
yeah,
I think it is really annoying. It like there's a certain amount of jank with Xenoblade Chronicles that's always been there, and it just seems like Monolith Soft is like okay with that jank existing when they could just fix it. You know, like I don't.
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of weird, and it's like I don't understand it because yeah, I'm with you with 3. It's like there are enemies that do AoE attacks, and there's no indicator where the attack is, and it's like your party doesn't react either, so they'll just all stand in a
Exactly,
giant fucking clump together, and they'll take this AoE attack where you're standing on like the side of the monster, and you're the only one that doesn't get hit, and it's like your whole party's like
exactly.
blowing all their heals trying to recover. It's like, dude, like so like the AI is decent at using abilities, but yeah, positioning wise, they're fucking terrible, dude. Like,
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was gonna get to. Like, if you're gonna
yeah,
make a game like this, you
hmm
need to have the AI react to positioning attacks, or you need to have some kind of indicator. Because I can't move everybody when, I know the monster's
right,
gonna do it. I know like after 5 attacks, the monster's gonna do an AOE attack or something like
hmm
that, and then follow up with another AOE attack.
yeah,
So I can get out the way. But in those positions, I just have to play healer. Like that's why I did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to be the healer
yep,
for one of those monsters, and I
yeah,
just play healer because the healers are the only ones that can revive people unless you get a memory locket, and
yep,
then you can put that on somebody, and I got that on one of my tanks, and they heal people because they can stay alive a lot longer than anyone else, so
yeah,
they can revive people. But
hmm
yeah, I think the chain attacks are okay. They're not the best, but they are more controlled. You can do a lot more stuff with them. I personally, I'm still iffy about them. Like they help me out a lot, and I love using them in situations and getting out of situations, but it's still something about them compared to like one and even two that just don't compare to like they don't it doesn't feel as fun
Yeah,
as those chain attacks in my
because
opinion.
they
I don't
take
know
too
what it
long,
is.
man. They take too
That's
long.
probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying. They're and yeah, late in the game, they're that you do so much damage with them that you're almost like you're hurting yourself not using them. Like,
Yeah, I
um,
hit 2 million the other night. So
yeah, I think
it's just
I was consistently getting over 2 million later in the game, but
okay.
I don't think I ever got higher than I think I got close to 3 once, and that was probably my cap. But I wasn't like I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't like doing everything in like super uber min maxing. So I'm sure you can get much higher than that, but
Hmm.
it didn't. You didn't really need to though. Doing 2.5 million to a boss, most bosses, they don't have that much more health than that. So you can kind of almost one shot them all the
Yeah,
time with the chain
exactly.
attacks. So
Yeah, but besides that, I mean, I think the story's pretty decent.
hmm
Um, now there's starting to be like an influx of like urgency, but I don't know. I like the way the story is flowing, where it makes sense. You can do side quests because you're not urgent to get to the sword base or the sword
yeah.
march. But now that you reach sword march, now it's like a little bit of urgency and stuff like that. So,
hmm
um, but I can still do a lot of side content, and I'm still enjoying that as well. So,
Yeah, I think the next section of the game that you're about to do, that's probably my favorite section of the game. To be
okay,
honest with you, from a story standpoint. um, so I'll be interested to see how you feel about the rest of the game, though. I mean, you still have a lot to go. I'd say you probably have 20 hours to go, maybe 15 to 20. If
okay,
you really if you push it hard, you could probably finish it in 10 to 15. But um, yeah. But if you go a little bit more like casual, it's probably 20ish. But
okay.
um, but yeah, cool. I mean, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just enjoying the game. I'm enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to you, dude. You've got the fortitude of a fucking like saint, man. Because like you playing all 3 games back to back. I'm like Jesus Christ, dude. I'm like I play 3 and I'm thinking about playing 1 or 2, and I'm like oh God, no, I can't. And it's like you've done all 3 of them over the course of like 3 fucking months. Um, so yeah, I gotta commend you on that. All right. What else are you playing? Are you playing anything else?
Nothing but Apex Legends. That's it.
Good old Apex. We did hit a new split finally this week, so I actually have not gotten to play since the split, but
Yeah, I
I am
know.
looking forward to it because fucking it is not Kings Canyon anymore, and I'm fucking just done with that goddamn map. I cannot wait to punt that map into the sun and not play it for a season or two.
Yeah, I
But
will say, I think as much as I hate Stormfront, or
Stormpoint.
is it Stormpoint? I'll say Stormfront. Yeah, or as I call it, like Born Point or whatever. But
Yeah.
it actually works well for ranked.
Yeah.
Like that this is the map you would want for ranked. You don't want this map in norms though. But in ranked or pub, you don't want it in pubs. But ranked, I think it works very fucking well because you can land, you can get a lot of loot. You may skirmish with 1 or 2 players, 1 or 2 teams, but after that, like everybody converges, and then once the circle closes,
Mm,
the circle is still big enough to
yeah.
where you can still fight like 10 or 20 teams, and no one
Yeah.
really touch each other, third party each other. So I think it's a really good uh rank map, but terrible fucking pubs map.
Well, dude, the changes they've made to the first circle closing, I think were so aggressive that they've gotten me to the point that I hate Kings Canyon and World's Edge in their current configurations because you like almost legitimately can't land in the outer edges of the map, like the outer
Yeah.
points of interest. And on both maps, those are some of the best areas, are on the edge for me in terms of like,
Hmm.
combat areas and like loot zones. Especially Kings Canyon. I love the outer edge of Kings Canyon. I fucking hate the interior of that goddamn map.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, if we land but you land on the edge and it's like, dude, you're just immediately running. Like you don't even get a chance to do anything. And if God forbid a team or two land near you, as well, and you end up having to fight them, you're just gonna like you all just end up killing each other because the gas kills you guys, while you're fucking fighting. So it's
Exactly.
I think it's a little frustrating right now. I think they've really they overdid it, and they're not. I don't know. I hope next season they kind of dial it back a little bit with the ring changes. I think the damage that it deals is fine. I just think it needs to come in a little bit slower. Just a tad, like 30 more seconds or something, for the first circle. I think
Yeah.
1 minute before it closes is just so fucking aggressive,
I
and
actually do not like the speed of it. I think they should adjust the speed.
yeah, it's coming in too
Like,
fast too. Yeah.
yeah, I like the damage, like you said, but it doesn't feel like I'm being at fault for fighting too long. Like like if it was slower and then I was still fighting, then
Yeah.
it's totally my fault, you know.
Yeah.
But like right now, I feel like I get punished for fighting.
Well, it's hard
That's
to
what.
it's hard to outrun it unless you're like a movement
Yeah,
character. Like you don't like a lot of the time, depending on which side of it you're on, you do not naturally outrun it, even unless you're like really good at moving.
yeah, exactly.
So it's annoying in that regard because yeah, the second you stop to do anything, loot, fight, you're just like, fuck, dude, you get so far behind it that you're dead, you need health meds. So I think I think those changes like really hurt the first, like, Kings Canyon and World's Edge, and I think Storm Point on like honestly I'm starting to prefer that map because it plays better with the new ring mechanics,
Yeah,
because of
they
how
just have
big
a
it
lot
is.
more like, yeah, like that, and they just have a lot more points of
Interest.
movement points. Yeah,
Yeah.
points of interest, and then you can
Oh,
move
true.
faster
Yeah, there's
with the
more. Yeah,
cannons.
you have the cannons, you have some jump towers, like you have some
Uh-huh.
ways to move around the map quickly. Whereas, yeah, with like Kings Canyon and fucking World's Edge, dude, they took out like all the jump towers, and there's like no way to like there's some on the outer edges of the map, but it's just they're not even use. Some of them aren't even useful. Like
Yep.
the one at the fucking crash shit or crash site is in Kings Canyon is fucking awful. Like the placement of it is horrifically bad. Like you have to like go around this mountain to fucking like go
Yeah.
towards the
Yep.
circle. It's like I don't like it's frustrating. It's super frustrating.
Yeah.
So
Well,
um
not to mention like Storm Point, you have a lot of hills, so
yeah.
when you're sliding, you can like slide down really fast and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So like
True.
it just has a lot more movement potential
Oh, and
as
there's
far as like,
vehicles actually too.
yep, yep, you're
That's
right.
right. I
Yep.
forgot. Yeah, there's vehicles on the
And
map too. So there's many ways to get in the circle in that map. Whereas the other maps are just like you got nothing, bro. You're just fucking running. And
that's probably why we like Olympus so much. Why we think it's like a smaller Storm Point because it's like it has a lot of hills and dips and stuff like that,
yeah,
and it has vehicles, so it has a
plenty
lot of
of
ways
ways
to
to
get.
get in. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, it's just a little it's a little frustrating right now with the configuration of that. But with it being Storm Point and ranked, I'm glad they chose that map because I think I'm tired of World's Edge too. So um I am really looking forward to next season. I am hoping this is kind of what I'm hoping for next season. I am hoping that we get new map. We're getting a new map next season. And
yeah,
then
we are. They already confirmed it.
yeah, we're getting a new map, and then I'm hoping we get Olympus back, and then we have Storm Point, and that's our kind of rotation, and like Kings Canyon and World's Edge are put to the side a little bit. So that's
I
kind of what
want
I'm
them to
hoping for
revert.
right now.
I want them to revert World's Edge. I really
Yeah,
do.
go backwards. Yeah,
Yeah, I want them to go back to sorting. I need sorting back, man. That
yeah.
was such a good area to fight.
I know, dude. I miss it so much. I don't mind Lava Siphon, but it's just not. I kind of wish they just put it somewhere else and put sorting back. you know, it's like
Yeah,
take out Fragment or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Like, because Fragment sucks. I hate that. I fucking hate that area, dude. And that's been that's been on the map forever. So, um, but yeah. So I have been playing mostly just The Last of Us Part One. I haven't gotten to play a ton, but I have played about I'd say 11 hours is what my game clock says right now. I feel like it's more than that, but that's what the game says. So I'm gonna go with that. But I'm through. I'm almost through the Pittsburgh section of the game, which I fucking forgot, dude. I haven't played this game since it came out in 2013, so like I forgot the structure of it. I knew the basic structure, but I knew you went to like a few different specific areas within the country. But I am almost through Pittsburgh, and that section of the game, dude, is fucking humongous. It is like over a third of the game, probably. And
Really?
yeah, and I mean, I talked about the game a lot last week, but I just want to kind of give more thoughts on the content side of it. I think Pittsburgh is like my least favorite section of the game, because it's huge, and before you meet Sam and Henry, at the towards the end of it, I just think it's a slog, dude. It's hours, it's probably 5 hours, 6 hours of just encounters and kind of going through and traversing, the city and whatnot. And I just I don't find it like super interesting. I mean, I was talking about this last week, but this game's encounter design is just so dated. And it like every encounter that I do, I feel it like so badly. I'm planning to play 2 right after this so I can compare, but I remember 2 having such incredible encounter design, compared to 1, that it's just like it's like night and day, dude. It's to the point that like 1 is just there's just not a lot of ways to flank. It's kind of hard to keep yourself hidden a lot of the time. The game's just not designed for you to take encounters down in stealth most of the time.
Hmm.
Because the environments are so small and you end up just getting kind of stuck. And when the enemies spot you, it just turns into this fucking game of whack-a-mole where you pop your head up, shoot a couple shots, and then drop down while the enemies are shooting. And then you pop back up and you shoot a couple shots. It's like there's not a lot of dynamic gameplay happening. I don't feel like there's a lot I can do in those situations because the enemies will just like if you come out in the open, you're just gonna die. So I just this game like I really wish they had updated the gameplay more and actually put some effort in to redesign the levels and areas, because yeah, I'm feeling that right now. But I do remember the back half of the game having some really really cool encounters, that I'm looking forward to re-experiencing and just seeing if they hold up. Honestly, because you can tell this Pittsburgh section of the game just feels like padding. Honestly, for a large stretch of it, and um, I don't know. I mean, Montrell, do you plan to play this game at some point? I'm sure you're not going to buy it for $70, but like if
I do
it's
plan on playing it, but yeah, I'm not buying it for $70. I'm waiting for it to. I'm gonna probably get it on Black Friday or something. When
okay,
I saw it, the game looks great. I really do want to replay through the game because I don't even remember the story beats behind
yeah,
one. It's been so long.
yep,
So it'll probably be like playing a fresh new game for me. Um, but when I heard they did nothing to the gameplay as far as like they didn't make it more dynamic like 2, because that's what I really wanted. I wanted
mm-hmm,
The Last of Us 1, but with two's combat, because
yep,
2 combat was like really fucking robust.
yep,
Um, and when I heard that they really didn't do that, they just made a couple of animation changes and some AI changes.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, I'll skip out on this one until Black Friday.
yeah. Well, I mean, when I'm done with it, if you want to play it sooner than that, you can borrow my copy for sure.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
hey, it's still physical, man. We can still do that. So
Oh yeah, sure.
you know it's quickly dwindling. I feel like it's in a couple years we won't even be able to buy physical games anymore, but yeah, we'll uh we'll see if you feel like borrowing it, let me know. All right, Montreal, let's move into the news. All right, Montreal, so our first story today in the news is I don't know how big I would say this is. I mean, this is probably big news, but uh, you know, I don't see the industry covering it like it's big news. But I'd say this is fairly significant. So, Saudi Arabia, the Saudi royal family, basically has announced their plans to invest a an additional $38 billion into video game acquisitions, including what they are saying 13 billion to acquire a quote leading game publisher, end quote. So this is from Video Games Chronicle reporting this. This is being reported fairly widely, but I haven't seen a lot of talk about this. But um, they're saying that they want to take minority stakes in key companies that support their game development agenda. And then they want to, as I said, acquire a leading game publisher to become a strategic development partner. And then they also mentioned that they want to take they want to push their investment in gaming in places like esports. So they want Saudi Arabia to become an esports destination for yeah, I know, for esports. So I mean, what do you make of this, dude? Because I mean, that is not a small amount of money. That is big, and the idea that they're going to acquire a publisher, for 13 billion. I mean, we can speculate on who that might be, but
EA. But
um, I mean, who do you think?
I think EA would give up their soul for 13 billion.
I think that's cheap for EA though. For what Activision sold for?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody bought EA, right? Even though EA like
No.
was openly advertising themselves at
They
one
got
point, I
close. They
remember.
almost got acquired by Disney. I think NBC. I mean, there was a lot of rumors flying around.
Yeah. Um. Hell, they might purchase Platinum Games. To be honest with you, I mean
I'm
they're
thinking
not a
it's
publisher,
I'm
but
thinking it's Embracer, dude.
you think they're going to publish? I mean, Embracer? I don't
Yeah,
think they have enough
because
money
they
to get
already
Embracer.
invested in Embracer earlier in the year,
Mm,
and
that's true.
to the point where I believe they got a board seat, or I don't think they got a board seat, but I think they invested enough to get a board seat if they wanted one. So I think it could be Embracer. They already, because I remember Embracer had to like deflect, the investment and be like, oh, we still run ourselves, blah blah blah, and all that. And I think 13 billion is the right number to acquire that publisher. The rest of them that are available right now, I think that's probably too much for Square Enix. That's too little for Take Two, too little for EA. Like I those numbers don't add up with those two. And then I mean, who else? Ubisoft, maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's Ubisoft. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it could be Ubisoft. Yeah,
yeah, and then obviously there's smaller publishers than those, but that at that point the money doesn't really make sense. So, um,
I can really see Ubisoft because they make games like
mhm,
Assassin's Creed that have like a I don't know.
yeah,
It just seems very like Saudi Arabia, like those games. I
yeah,
don't know.
maybe
Um,
Konami, Capcom. I mean, those are options, I guess.
ugh, I hope not.
That would be
Jesus
horrible.
Christ.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it does line up though, with that theory I had because I heard that they're kind of running out of oil and they need other ways to, inflate their capital. So
Mm,
it makes sense that Saudi Arabia is investing all this money into games because once we eventually in the next 20 years go to like fully electric cars, oil is not going to be a commodity anymore, and
yep.
how are they going to pay for their private jets and Lamborghinis and stuff? So uh
Yeah,
I
because
guess
that's
video
important.
game.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah.
So I guess video games is the next medium to go into, and like you just
Hmm.
pour money into that, and you get what you get out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that they become an esports destination, though, I mean,
That's not going to
you
happen.
started laughing, and I mean, I find that laughable, right? Like, like think about the games industry as it stands now, right? The people that are in it and the people that have influence in it, and they are not people that are going to jive with Saudi Arabia. So that's a funny one. Then again, if they can get companies on board, I don't think it matters, right? Like the companies
I
are really
mean,
who you need to convince. So
everyone keeps trying to go to Dubai because Dubai is in Saudi Arabia, right?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Dubai? No, I don't
Yeah.
think it is. Maybe let me look that up. Where this is embarrassing American geography skills.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
And the
Persian Gulf Coast of the United Arab Emirates. Which, yes, that is Saudi Arabia. So,
okay, yeah, okay.
or actually, no, it isn't. Oh, my
It
bad. Saudi
isn't.
Arabia is big. Is like the huge country in the Middle East.
Oh, and it's right on the
UAE
edge.
is right next to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they got some kind of they got a lot of pull in Dubai though. Like I'm pretty sure.
They probably do. Yeah. um.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. Like they need to first get their like shit together. Like women need to be able to drive cars because I can only imagine the game developers going over there and
Dude, oh my
yeah.
god, I know the shit they do to women, and well, dude, that's the thing is like, dude, they literally execute gay people over there, like publicly execute them. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. bro, dude, nah, man. I just don't see a future for this. Like they got to figure that seems like a pipe dream to me. But
Yeah,
I mean the investment though, that is realistic and that can't happen. Anybody will take anybody's money. I mean, we've seen it with China, right? So
yeah,
nobody gives a shit
exactly.
where money comes from. They'll just fucking take it at this point. So I mean, we'll continue to monitor this. I mean, if they are going to acquire a publisher, I'm sure we're going to hear about it, somewhat soon, probably within the next year. I would think if they're already talking about it. So because I mean, they named a number, right? An amount of money they're spending on this, meaning that the deal is probably already happening or being talked about, negotiated, which means it's
Hmm.
probably close to being a real thing. So um that will be interesting to see. I mean, they already have stakes in Nintendo, Capcom, Nexon, Activision, Blizzard, EA, Embracer, Take Two. So I mean, they've already got stakes in many of these companies. So, um, but we shall see. All right, Montreal, let's move on to our next story. This was one I think we predicted a long time ago, but it has finally come to pass. Google announced today that it is shutting down Stadia for good, and it is also refunding all Stadia purchases of hardware, software, and DLC. They are not refunding subscriptions that people paid for, like Stadia Pro, but this shutdown will be happening in January of next year, 2023. So January 18th to be exact. Um, I mean, Montreal, it's only been around for a few years and it did not last. I mean, do you have anything you want to say on the way out?
Not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. Um, Good try, Google, but the infrastructure is not there, and we call that like years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Yeah.
It's just not there. Even in the best countries, like your certain parts of Europe and Japan, it's not viable. I'm sorry, like no one wants to do this.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and then there's the weird pricing model with the subscription. You needed the subscription to even buy games, and then there was the whole fact that, they didn't they approached this in such a weird way because they made it streaming only, and there was no way to play
mhm.
games in a local level on their device. So it's just like they kind of heads themselves into a corner, into a niche that didn't exist and that really nobody wanted per se. This is something that's much more viable from the Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft level where they add this
So,
to existing services. I don't
yep.
think this kind of thing can survive on its own. It's just not viable yet in that way. So I think it's more of a
Yeah,
value add for the bigger publishers.
yeah, they would have probably been better off selling the idea to like Google or Apple. I'm sorry, or Xbox or Sony because like they would have the infrastructure and Sony or Xbox would only have to pay them a little bit of a fee for them to use their services. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense. So they probably would have did better doing that. Instead, Sony and Microsoft or Sony and Microsoft, yeah, they just was like, oh, that's a good idea. We can just add it to our service. And
They
then
just did their own
Nintendo
thing.
came,
I mean, they already had
yeah,
it, right? Like PlayStation Now has been around for a long time.
yeah, for a long time.
They bought Gaikai back in like 2011 or whatever. So they've been planning to do this for a long time. So Sony already had their thing, and Microsoft, I'm pretty sure, did too. They already had their Xbox streaming going before Stadia was out. So I mean,
And
it
then
was
you
just
have
kind of a
Game Pass that just blows
blows it out of
Stadia
the
out the
water,
water.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there was literally no point in getting Stadia. Once Xbox Game Pass came out, I mean PlayStation Now was a huge blow,
Mhm.
but I feel like once Game Pass came out, it that was like Stadia's like cough, like they were like
Yeah.
digging their grave right then and there.
Yeah.
So
Well, how hilarious is it too that Google is so flush with cash that they can just refund everybody for everything basically besides the subscription, and they're just like, "Yep, whatever, man. You can all have your money back." It's like this was a fun experiment, but it's going to go down as another one of Google's failed experiments. So it's fun.
yeah, I mean I feel bad for them because they always try to get into an industry. The only thing I really wanted them to succeed in was the Google Fiber. I really wanted that to
Oh,
succeed, but
yeah, man. Or Google
I really.
Glass was the one for me, dude.
Oh, was that the glasses?
Yeah, man, those smart glasses or whatever, dude. I'm so
Yeah,
desperate for that shit. I want it so bad.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that while I was driving. Like that'd be cool. Like I can scroll Twitter while like driving or some shit like that or whatever. It's
Yeah,
just really cool to have.
man,
But yeah,
that'd be so dangerous.
it'd be so dangerous though.
Yeah. Well, no,
But
wouldn't it be cool though if you could have it integrated with your car, right? So rather than having your speedometer like on the car, which I mean you could have one physically there, but it would show on your glasses, like in the
yeah,
display, shit like that, like
yeah.
speedometer,
Ooh,
where
like
you are, if you have GPS you're looking at, anything like that.
yeah, they have some
Um,
kind of partnership with Tesla or something.
yeah,
Oh, that
dude.
would be
Like there's
really dope.
so much application for that shit. And it's annoying that the world fucking movie theaters were like, oh, fuck this, bro. You're gonna steal movies? It's like you're a fucking dying industry anyways. Fucking gonna make the human race like degress because you're mad they're bootlegging your movies. They've been doing it for fucking years anyway. So it's frustrating. But maybe we'll get it someday. I'm sure that technology will exist in some way. But yeah, the fiber thing, fiber has become way more prevalent in the consumer space in for ISPs in recent years, but they all still suck. Like Frontier, I have like fiber, I think is almost, it might even be available in my area, but I can't get it without paying an extra $50 a month on top of my current bill. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna continue to be a fucking peasant, you know? So, because I
Oh, they
refuse
charge
to
you an
pay that
extra
much
fifty
money.
dollars.
Yeah, dude, because that's what they do. They all do it. Their existing customers are just like they don't there's no loyalty bonus for being a long-term customer with an ISP. They only give the bonuses to new customers. So, get fucked, loser, You've been paying us. You've been a customer for 10 years. Ha ha ha. That means you pay $100 more than new customers. It's like, congratulations. It's just so stupid, man. And there's no other
Yeah.
ISP available in my area for my
Mhm.
house, so I'm just stuck. Honestly, it's frustrating, super frustrating. But well, Stadia, it was a good try, Google, but wasn't meant to be. Was not meant to be. I just don't feel like this is a thing that's really ever going to work in the game space in a real way anytime soon. Um, for many of the reasons that we've been talking about, just this stuff with ISPs, it's like even the way they do business, it's like even if it becomes available, people aren't going to upgrade because that why would I pay extra money for something that you're advertising for, 50 less dollars per month to new people, it's like why would I do
Exactly.
that? So yeah. But we'll see. I'm sure there will be someone else that will come in and try this again in the next few years. So we'll see what the next one brings. All right, Montrell, let's move on to our final news story of the week. August NPD numbers, which I forgot to read last week, which I'm actually kind of glad. I tend to like to do this with Montrell present. So, all right, let's just jump right into it. Total video game sales for the month of August 2022 were 4.104 billion this year versus 4.307 billion last year. That is a minus 5% change. And then total video game content. This is physical, digital game sales, DLC, microtransactions, subscriptions, etc. 3.591 billion this year versus 3.812 billion last year. That is a minus 6% change. And then video game hardware, 375 million this year versus 329 million last year. That is a 14% change. And then video game accessories is 138 million this year versus 167 million last year. That is a minus 18% change. So overall this month, we're seeing a little bit of a pull, like a kind of a comeback a little bit because sales have been down about 10% for the year almost every month. And this month it was only 5%. So that is a little bit of a difference. There were some sales kind of coming back in. Maybe this is the time of year where people are starting to want to game again. I mean, Madden came out this month, which we'll talk about in a second. That seems to be always a big sales driver in the month
Mhm.
of August. So, total video
Yeah,
game sales. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was about to say like it could be having to do with like also the hardware. I know PlayStation did a price hike, so I don't know if that
Mm,
factors into this as well.
mm, that
Also,
is true.
like some people do start their Christmas shopping like super early. So some people may be trying to get consoles and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
for their kids. So
Yep. Yeah. Um, Total video game sales for the year is down 9%. I'm not going to read the whole thing out.
All right.
But my down 9%. Video game content's down 10%. Hardware's down 4%, and video game accessories are down 14%. And then top 20 best-selling games for the month. This is interesting. Number 1 this month was Madden NFL 23. No surprise there. Number 2 is Saints Row, the new Saints Row game. Number 3 is Marvel's Spider-Man, which I believe came out on PC
Sure did.
in August, so that was why that jumped up. Number 4 is Elden Ring. Number 5 is Multiverses. Number 6, Mario Kart 8. Oh my god. Number 7, Minecraft. Number 8, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Number 9, MLB The Show 22. Number 10, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Number 11, Digimon Survive. Number 12, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 13, Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 14, Far Cry 6. Number 15, Soul Hackers 2. Number 16, okay, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 17, Gran Turismo 7. Number 18, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Number 19, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. I mean, what the fuck, dude? Number 20, Pokemon Legends Arceus.
What the fuck is going on with Skyrim, yo?
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
It must have been a really slow month.
I guess so. I mean, anything jumping out to you there besides that?
I'm actually surprised about Saints Row. I mean, I know it just came out and a lot of people were expecting it, but it got pretty bad reviews. So I'm surprised it's selling as hard as it did. Also, Digimon Survive is still up there is that the second month in a row? Third month?
Yes. It was 8 last month.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think releasing it months before Pokemon was a great call. So
yeah,
I'm glad to see that they're getting their just desserts.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing else really stands out to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure I knew Xenoblade was going to be in the top 10. I actually surprised the Lego games sell pretty good too. It's like a really casual.
That one's been a big seller this year.
Yeah. I'm not surprised about Elden Ring, Multiverse, or Mario. I think Multiverse is probably going to be up there for like the next year. To be honest with you, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, it was number 1 last month. So
yeah, they keep supporting it the way they do. It's going to be It's going to be in the top 10 for the next year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so it's probably going to be the next, like, Call of Duty. Like, it's going to be a staple in the thing for next year. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Call of Duty plummeted too, so we're in that time of year where people are getting ready for the new one. It went from 5 to 13 this month, so that's interesting. I mean, I'm gonna be interested to see, because remember, next year we are not getting a Call of Duty game. So I'm gonna be interested to see Call of Duty sales numbers over the next 2 years. This new Call of Duty that's coming out, because it is gonna have to last them the next 2 years, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if it can consistently stay on these charts over that 2-year period. So we will definitely be tracking that for sure. Soul Hackers 2, congrats Atlas on that. Then charting on a game like that is interesting. For them, what else is on here? I mean, Mario Kart just continuing to be a beast. Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon were actually off the list last month, which I find interesting, and now they're back on it. So I don't know what's contributing to that. Maybe Sony had a sale of some sort, but they jumped.
Maybe some DLC came out for the game or something like that.
Maybe Gran Turismo. I don't think Horizon had anything, but yeah, we'll continue to track that. And then let's see. Do they have top 10 for the year so far? They do not. They have top 10 for the last 12 months, which I guess I can go through real quick. So number 1, Elden Ring. Number 2, Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 3, Madden NFL 22. Number 4, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Number 4, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. That's interesting. Number 6, Battlefield 2042. Number 7, Far Cry 6. Number 8, FIFA 22. Number 9, Pokemon Legends Arceus. And number 10, Horizon Forbidden West. So...
that's pretty good.
Elden Ring, absolutely dominant this year. I heard recently that they actually released like official sales numbers, and it was around it was around like 16.5 million or so.
That sounds low. I would think it'd be higher than that.
I thought it would be higher too, but that is a lot of sales, dude. Like, when you really think about it, that is a lot of sales in 6 months
for a niche game, like
for a new game, new franchise, new IP. Yeah, that is a lot of sales. for a game. Because, dude, that's up there with like Sony's first party IPs. Like God of War, Spider Man. Um, that's twice as much as The Last of Us 2 sold.
Yeah,
Um,
16.6 million copies
yeah, yeah.
by
Last of Us
July
only broke
20.
8 million recently, and that game's been out for 2 years. So,
Oh, okay. Well, you put it in that perspective, that is pretty fucking
yeah,
good. Holy shit.
yeah. So, they have a bona fide hit on their hands with that. So, all right, well, Charlie, that's it for news. We did have a topic that you brought up that we wanted to discuss here. So, let's jump into it here. Do you want to lay the groundwork for this one? I think you know a little bit more about this than I do.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. Uh, so, so on Twitter, I think this was like Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
Monday or Tuesday. Shinobi tweeted out that if anyone uses the term lazy devs in my mentions will get auto blocked. The amount of hard work, effort, blah 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 blah, that they do is astronomical. So no more of that. And then some guy named Sasquatch Games, he only had like maybe one follower, and like it looked like it was a brand new account to be honest with you, but it looked like
Yeah,
he
he
was
had 500
trying.
followers is what the account
Oh,
is.
oh, oh, they did. Okay, like
Yeah.
when I looked it up, it was like 9, but I don't know if he deleted it and then re-added
Well,
it.
hold on. Let
So
me
is it still
see.
there?
Oh, actually, I'm looking at a different one. Oh, this is the different one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You might be right.
Okay. Yeah, so this guy named Sasquatch Games commented, and I don't think they like normally people get rude comments, and I'm not even gonna lie, like a lot of these followers and everything, they get some really rude comments. But this one, he said, watch videos of the making of Halo 2, then look at any dev team today. Devs today despise gamers and crumble at the first sight of criticism. And then Corey responded to that saying, ugh, this take. Too many devs get treated like hot garbage for making things people claim to love in the name of what those same people would call critique, but really it's just a thinly veiled harassment. Critique is good, harassment is bullshit. Just treat the devs better. Um, and then my take on this was like, I think both people are right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wanted to highlight the dev side of things. Whereas I think, yes, I can acknowledge that gamers can be assholes. I mean, like to me, the one that sticks out instantly in my mind is like the bomb threats and the cupcakes being sent to fucking Bioware for Mass Effect 3. Like that's the first thing that pops into my mind. And I know there's plenty of other things that pop into other people's minds as well, as far as gamers and harassment towards developers, not like streamers or anything, but like actual developers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my thing is, uh, I think the Sasquatch gaming guy is right as well. And to this, um, like just throw that away as like a ugh this take. Like I think that's pretty disingenuous, because a lot of developers do. We see it all the time. They crumble at the first sight of criticism. Um, only time they are like, oh, we are very sorry for what happened is when they get huge amounts of backlash where even the media that's supposed to be on their side say like you guys fucked up. You right. So like Cyberpunk, for example, or Halo
Mm-hmm.
Infinite or
Yeah.
something of that nature. Those they will come and say like, hey, we messed up. Or I don't even think Cyberpunk said we messed up. But I know Halo, when I watched their VODs and stuff like that, they legitimately said like, yo, we messed up or whatever. It was 2 seasons in 2 years or whatever. It's just like not enough content is unacceptable or whatever. But my biggest thing from this is like we really never see, like we see gamers, me and you criticize gamers all the time
Mm-hmm.
because we are gamers, right?
Yeah.
The
I
thing
mean,
that
we live in these communities, right?
Yeah, we live in these communities and we criticize gamers all the time on this podcast. We actually take both sides of the fence. The problem is we only get shit for one side of the fence, and that's when we go after the devs. When
Right.
we go after the devs, everyone's like, "Yo, man, they put so much," and it's not just like my friend DJ. It's other people like
Oh
who
yeah.
like who follow me and stuff like that. They're like, "Yo, like people put time and effort, and even like in videos and stuff like that. When people go after, they don't really go after the devs. They go after. When I say go after the devs, I mean we're just critiquing their products or whatever, and like or the decisions they made. Like I'm not saying." like say if God of War had like a pay to win instance or something like that. I'm not saying Corey is an asshole and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, this is a dumb move by the devs to do God of War and
Hmm.
make it free to play and all this stuff like that. That would be a dumb move by the devs. So I'm critiquing their decisions. I'm not critiquing them as a person. And
Yeah.
I really want people to understand that. The problem is every time we critique it, everybody comes to the defense and they, oh my God, you got to remember these guys are humans. And it's like, we, we do remember that they're humans. Video games to me are the only source or the only form of media and art that once you critique it,
Hmm.
everybody gets their panties in a bunch. I completely agree with the Sand Squash guy. They crumble at the first sign of things. Oh, you got to remember the devs work hard for this. You got to do this and that. And it's like nobody doubts that.
It's not
Nobody
even
said they
relevant,
don't work
dude.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when a bad movie comes out, right? I never see critics or whatever say, "Wow, audience, you guys are terrible people," because you know how hard the production team worked on that fucking
Hmm.
movie. Did you know that
Hmm.
there are people, doing this and that and third? They just recently started doing that. Marvel did. They just recently started doing that, like with like She-Hulk and stuff like that. Even though I think She-Hulk is good,
Hmm.
they just recently, like the people who've done the special effects, just recently started coming out and saying that and everything like that. But like before, that wasn't a thing, and like we don't really do it in other mediums as well. Like we don't do it with books. Like if George R. R. Martin come out with a bad book, we don't be like it's just weird how gaming gets this like coddled, like the developers get this coddling thing, and it's because everyone still has this big notion of gamers being these big bad like fat net beard boogeymen in the basement complaining and harassing people, and it's like we're not those people.
Hmm.
um like people have legitimate complaints, especially for live service games. Like we are paying for a product to continuously run. I would expect quality service. So I didn't like. I agree with Corey's assessment. I just didn't like the way how disingenuous and how he threw it, how he just nonchalantly threw that guy's
Well, he's just
opinion out on the
dismissing
other.
the point, right?
Dismissing, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
I mean,
I just didn't like how he dismissed it. Like,
yeah.
and then everybody was on his side to where I think that's why that guy deleted his tweets. Like,
Well,
because he
yeah.
probably got
So,
harassed.
yeah, dude, that's the thing nobody talks about, right? Is like Corey has a big following, right? And he like dunks on this guy, right? Retweets this dude and fucking dunks on him, and then I'm sure this dude probably got fucking like destroyed in his mentions, and had to delete the tweet to like just like stop the flow, and nobody gives a shit about that though. That's okay. Like, oh wow, cool. I mean, I think my kind of feeling on this is, I mean, harassment against devs. Obviously, I think we can all agree, like, don't do it. It's bad. It's stupid. Counterproductive, and just like don't harass people in general. But you know,
Well,
but the thing,
my thing is this, right? I'm sorry to cut you off
yeah, go
because
ahead.
like even the screenshot, right?
Hmm.
The guy that took the screenshot, this is his this. Now remember, guys, I'm gonna read what Squash Gamers
Yeah, bro,
said.
this is
He said, watch the videos on the making of Halo 2. Then look at any dev team today. Dev teams despise gamers and crumble at the first sight of criticism. He didn't say anything else. That's the only tweet he said. This is what the screenshot said, disagreeing with that comment. Game developers are pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into games that into game every game they make because their managers, leadership teams, executive administration, and corporate interests demand they work themselves to death so you can kill random idiots in Call of Duty. Fuck off. Why do we need all this hostility,
well,
bro?
why is it so aggressive, right?
Yeah,
Like, dude, it's like
exactly.
so aggressive. And this is, I think, to your point, this is kind of the thing I want to hone in on here. Is this just like idolization and like pedestal, like putting game devs on a pedestal, right? That they are like these untouchable saints of, like hard work. And dude, they they work hard, absolutely. I'm sure most game devs are probably kicking them, killing themselves to make games. But that doesn't mean that they're like immune from criticism. If you're going to release something, especially something that is a commercial product intended to make money, you're going to get criticized. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to baby you because you worked fucking you worked your ass off to make a game. Like if it has issues, I'm going to tell you what those issues are. I'm not going to just sit here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you that you made the best fucking game ever. That's why when DJ comes at us, like, sorry DJ, I'm calling you out, but like when DJ comes at us and it like gets mad at us for criticizing stuff, it's like, dude, we're still customers at the end of the day, whether you like agree or not. Like it's like we are customers and we have the right to give feedback. Obviously we have to do that in a respectful way, and that part of this whole discussion, absolutely 100%. But we can't just like put this fucking force field barrier up against all developers that, oh, we can't even criticize them at all. It's just the way some of these people in media, in games media, and within the game dev scene tending to act lately about stuff, and it's like getting really frustrating because I don't agree with that idea that like they can't be criticized or they shouldn't be criticized. Yeah, maybe there's certain terms we shouldn't use, like calling them lazy, is probably a bad way to
Yeah.
criticize them, and I'm sure we've been guilty of that in the past, but we don't mean it in like they're literally lazy. It's more of like they're not doing the obvious thing, and focusing on these things that don't matter as much. That's kind of probably more translation of what people are trying to say when they say that. But so that's kind of my issue with this whole thing, is just that like idolization of game developers, and then of course the villainization of people in leadership, as well. I would say I doubt across the board in the game industry they're all pieces of shit, but that's what this
Yeah.
fucking guy makes it sound like, that they're all assholes that work their teams into the fucking ground and like, kill their developers. It's like, I mean, yeah, maybe that's true at maybe that might even be the vast majority, but it's not true everywhere. And he's making it sound like that's what it is,
Yeah, and I mean, my whole take is here. Like, I think both sides need to do better. Right? I think there needs to be some way that gamers, because I was watching a vid on Apex or whatever, and this guy gave he's on Twitter. I wish I can remember his handle on Twitter, but he was talking about matchmaking and stuff like that, and how complicated it is, and
Mm-hmm.
how devs do things, and then the players want things and they do things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's getting to a point where it's hard to predict. I'm sorry, it's hard to understand what gamers want. He said, I really think we need to have an open dialogue about what gamers want as far as skill matchmaking, or what can we do to make matchmaking better in all games. Because at one point, I just remember in like the early 2000s or 2008, matchmaking wasn't the best, but for like me, Halo, right? Like I felt like it was really balanced. Like they had playlists for the sweaties, and they had casuals. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, like the sweaties wouldn't go into the casual playlist; they would go into the sweaty playlist. They wouldn't even touch the casual social slayer. And I feel like Call of Duty was the same way. Um, I don't know, like now all the skill based matchmaking, it feels like everything is so fucking sweaty now. That it's like they just took the casualization away from everything. So like that's what I was talking about though. Whereas he said that he's like, as a developer, we just need to have open dialogue, because gamers don't understand where we're coming from, and we don't understand. I feel like we don't understand where the gamers come from. Like these are his words, and I feel like now there is no excuse for us not to have an open dialogue. Yes, if you do an AMA on Reddit, you are gonna get some assholes. Welcome to the fucking internet. That's been on the internet for the last 30 years. Like, grow a fucking backbone, yo. Like, you can filter that shit out. Block the person
Yeah,
if they say
block
something
them,
crazy.
ignore them. You don't even have to respond to them, dude. Like, just like get them out of your view,
Yeah,
Um,
and that's what irritates me the most about like um this whole conversation. You can block people, y'all. Like you can legitimately block people if someone says something stupid to you. Like if they're not giving you criticism, like you can just block somebody. And I understand it'll be hard to filter out all the fucking comments, but I'm pretty sure not everybody and their mom is commenting on you. And to be honest with you, the people that do give you criticism is still 1%. So you even taking a 0.5% off that 1% of the people that take the time to criticize the game and give you feedback. Because honestly, a lot of people just don't even give feedback. They play your games. They don't fucking care. Like, man, it's bad. All right, well, I'm gonna go to the next game. Whereas the people that do care about it, they will give you feedback. And out that 1% that gives you feedback, you got a 0.5% or another 1% of those people who are assholes. Just block them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. I just don't like the concept or the idea that all gamers, and that's what he's trying to make it seem like, and that's what everybody, when we have this fucking conversation, they try to make it seem like all gamers are like this when it's like
Yeah.
1%,
Well,
5%. I even give
yeah.
them 5% of the gamers are like that. You know.
Yeah, and I want to hone in on one part that Squatch said too is devs today despise gamers. Like that I think is true. Like I think that is a true statement, you know. The more devs I see on Twitter talking about games, talking about fans and stuff like that, that is the sentiment I take away more often than not. Is that they don't like their audiences, dude. And that is I don't know. I mean,
I mean, I will give you, I will concede one point, right? Last week or week before last, actually, I think it was last week when GTA 6 leaked.
mhm.
People were like hammering on GTA 6. It's in
Mm,
development,
that
bro.
was
Like,
really yeah. No, that's a good
yeah,
example of gamers being
yeah.
shitty. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that's a
yeah,
really good example. And it's like I was fully on the developer side. I was fully on
yeah.
all the media side.
Yep.
It's in development. What do you think game
Well, that was
development
a that
is?
was like a 3-year-old build too. Is what the rumor was. Come
It
on,
looked
dude.
like
Like
a GTA 5 build. It may have probably could have been
it
a
literally
GTA 5
probably
build.
was. It literally was probably in the GTA 5 engine and they were just fucking putting shit together to see what the fuck the game would like conceptually look like, you know?
Exactly.
So
And
yeah, no,
people
you're right.
lost their
That's
shit.
totally an instance where yeah, I'm with devs on that one. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? You know?
Yeah, and
Um,
that's an instance of gamers being idiots. But even out of those 1% of gamers that were being idiots, there are plenty of gamers on my timeline like, yo, what do y'all expect? This is and
right.
that's another point.
Well,
Like
we're
gamers
fucking
were
gamers too, dude. It's not like we're like we're not special. Like we're gamers. We're part of that community too. That group of people. Like when we literally acknowledge that yes, like we get it. Like that wasn't like there's nothing to criticize there. It's a fucking alpha. It's like not even alpha. It's like a prototype, you know? Um,
exactly. And that's my point. Like my one of my next tweets was like gamers criticize gamers openly and publicly all the fucking time. Now, I understand developers may not do it publicly because they may have to have build a relationship with the company, or they may leave a company and go to another company. But I just really want them to be like realistic. Like, how come no developers are like, man, Cyberpunk kind of fucked up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one was like,
that's
guys,
a corporate That's like a corporate thing, dude. Nobody wants to burn that bridge
yeah,
publicly.
and I
Yeah.
understand that, but like they're so willing to burn the consumers or the gamers in this instance. It's just so weird to
That
me.
is interesting,
Uh,
actually. That yeah, that they are really willing to burn the consumers, like their customer base, but yeah, they won't criticize each other.
yeah, and maybe they do that through journalism, right? Because we see it all the time where they're like, "Oh, I got a source or whatever that says this is that and the third." But I don't feel like we see that too often. We only see it from like Jason Schreier. We don't have. There's
Yeah,
rarely anybody else who like does investigative journaling
yeah.
inside of gaming.
Not
So
for not for the stuff he's doing, where
yeah,
like exposing
exactly.
companies, right? There's very few doing that.
But I don't know. It's just weird that people will like just come at gamers. And I'm a gamer myself. Like um it's in my culture, it's my DNA. Like I'm pretty sure like for you too.
Oh yeah,
We are gamers. We grew up with this stuff. And to say that it's not our culture is like a fallacy. Like it is a culture. Um and I just don't like the attack that's constant. This has been going on for about 10 years now, and it's so
hmm
annoying at this point.
Gamergate.
Like yeah, Gamergate, and it's like we lost that battle, y'all. Like when I say we, I don't mean like us gamers that are going against the media. It's just like I feel like everybody lost that battle because that painted such a negative connotation on
Yeah,
all gamers as a whole. Like when you tell somebody you're a gamer, they kind of look at you crazy. Some people think you don't have jobs. Some people think you live in your mom's basement. Like I don't even tell people I play video games anymore. So
I
it's just
know, yeah, dude.
it's just insane. Like if Justin, you were to walk up to somebody today like that don't play video games, and you're like, yeah, I play video games, they probably think you're a basement dweller. They don't know you got a wife. They don't know you have a house, a car, a cat, and anything. They don't know none of that shit. They're just gonna put you in this
I
box.
try to represent, man, when I'm at work, with the executives and the leadership teams, man. I'm like, I'm loud and proud, baby. Yeah, I'm a gamer, boys. Let's go. But yeah, no, they look at me. They look at me like I'm fucking crazy. So
Yeah, and I don't know. I think like stuff like this, even when we're trying to stick up for the developers, it makes us look bad. I think it makes the developers look bad anyway because everybody's just further alienate each other
mhm.
from getting to a solution and making great games, making the culture of video games great. And I really hate stuff like this, to be honest with you. And I hate that Corey even commented on this and made that take. Um, I mean, it wasn't a bad take, but the way he was dismissive in the take, it was like really.
Yeah. Well,
And
then there's
then
all the people in the comments under Corey that are just sucking his dick. Like, dude, they fucking drive. I fucking hate these people, man. Like, they drive me crazy. These apologists. They're like, oh my god, yeah, we gamers, we're so bad. We're the worst. Like, oh, we're horrible. It's like it's like those fucking white people that are just like, they just apologize for white people all the time. It's like, just shut the fuck up, dude. Nobody wants to hear you. Like,
yeah, but apparently developers love it, but they just
I
get
know they
ignored.
eat it up, they lap it up,
Yeah.
right?
Um, I don't know, man. Like it really when it came out, it really rubbed me the wrong way. Like it rubbed me. So I was on lunch,
Yeah.
and I took like 30 minutes on lunch replying to this shit because I was just like, bro, this is
Yeah. Nice.
annoying as fuck. Like I don't.
Well, I think
I
the
don't
thing
know.
that they all forget too is, dude, if you hate gamers so much and you hate this fucking industry so much and you hate the executives so much, then why the fuck do you work in it? You have options. You have a choice. Like, you don't have to fucking be in this shitty situation. Like, you can go do something else, Like, I don't know. That shit annoys the shit out of me too. It's like there's no escape. It's like, I mean, you have options. All of us have options. So I don't know.
Yeah, it
But
just I don't know. It's like I get really irritated because I see one comment, right?
mhm.
I would see this happen. I don't know if it was like a streamer or a developer. She posted something and everybody was praising her. Like
Mhm.
everybody.
Mhm.
Ton of praise. I saw I when I clicked on then the reason I got to that tweet is because somebody criticized her or they were being an asshole to her, right? And she honed in on that one and quote retweeted it and was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why would you even give him attention? Like, don't do that. And developers do shit like that. Why would y'all even? This
I think
guy is
that, dude,
obviously.
they revel in it. They revel in the attention. I think there's a degree of this that is just all circular bullshit, right? They're feeding their own, like, they want the attention, dude. Like, some of these people want the fucking attention. Some of these people in the media, they want the attention. So they just stir the pot. They just get on Twitter and they say something that they know is gonna piss so many people off, and off we go. We're off to the races. Once it's said, it's over. The Twitter war starts, and then it's like, oh, gamers are so fucking evil. It's like, I mean,
But you skipped tons of like replies, right? Like
yeah.
guaranteed, right? Let's say I quoted retweet, I quoted Corey, and I said something, and I was very respectful in what I said. I didn't cuss at him or anything like that. And I didn't get a reply back at all. Now, that being said, watch me had been a fucking asshole. Shut the fuck up, Corey. You're a bitch. Blah 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 blah. And it just went off, right?
Mhm.
I guarantee you, he would have quote retweeted that and came at me.
Well,
Guaranteed
that's the
it.
point, right? He's picking the people that are negative, right? He's not going to reply to the respectful ones.
But that's what's irritating to me.
I
Like,
know. Yeah. Right.
why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Like, just don't do that at all. Like, just reply to the people that are being respectful. And that's where this harassment is bullshit. And I agree with this. Harassment is bullshit because you can pick, unless it's like in your face, right? Like, especially on Twitter, bro. Like, it's so annoying. Um, I was because I was watching like a streamer or whatever. And what's his name? Hassan, I think that's his name, right? the debate streamer bro guy who like
Oh yeah,
gamed with
Hasanabi or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hasanabi, yeah. His name was Hassan.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
gamed with like AOC or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
he was talking about like uh the criticism or the harassment he gets online and everything like that, right? And then another streamer, he's like a really big popular streamer in debating. His name's Destiny. He was like the one that was debating Jontron like
Mm,
years ago that exposed him for like,
mm-hmm.
that racist stuff or whatever. So he was talking about, he was like, bro, where have you been? He's like, the internet does this. Like, he's like, I'm so tired of people saying this shit. He's like, it's the fucking internet. What do you like? It shouldn't happen, yes, but there are ways to get around it. Like just how I lock my doors
Yeah.
at
Every
night.
human on the planet has the ability to get on it. Okay.
Yes.
Like yeah,
And
maybe not
every
literally,
human,
right? Maybe not literally, but theoretically, right? If everybody had access to it, they could all get on it and spew their opinion out there. You
and
really
there are
think
so many bots.
7.5 billion people and you're not going to get toxicity from any of them? Come on, man. Like, Jesus.
But my thing is this, right? You
Yeah.
have your own community. You have
Yeah.
your own mods.
Right.
You have bots that
Mhm.
can filter out harassment. Bro, just block people. We have so many fucking tools to block people, to mute people.
No,
You don't
Montrell.
wanna
I want to
see it.
hold those DMs, man. I'm gonna hold those DMs and those replies, and I'm gonna read them deep into a Saturday night, and I'm gonna be crying into my fucking napkin, while I'm eating my Wendy's, and just these people are so mean. It's
like even me,
nah,
right?
man. Just
When I
block
put
them.
up a tweet, and I'm like, I know this is gonna get negative influence, and it starts getting the negative influence, I instantly delete the tweet because I'm like, I don't feel
Mute
like dealing
it,
with this
delete
shit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, mute it or delete it. And I was like, I don't feel like dealing with this shit or whatever. And I literally go about my day and forget about the tweet I just tweeted.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to do. Like the internet is real life, y'all, but it's not real life,
Well,
y'all.
I think that's what they mistake Twitter for too. Twitter is not a forum, right? It's not a place where you're going to have a discussion. It's literally a soapbox. You get on there, you say the thing you're going to say, and you leave. That's it. Don't reply to anybody. Don't look at the fucking replies. Just mute the thread immediately. Just say what you got to say and fucking go away. Like that's it. That's what it should be used for, because that's how it's designed. It's not designed to have a deep, nuanced conversation.
Well, what's funny about Twitter is they even have a fucking feature where you can only you can set your replies for people who follow you.
Yeah.
Like people who don't follow you can't
Right.
even reply to you, or
Right.
you can set it up for certain people to reply, so you can still get your shit out there. And then if you don't want to see the quoted retweets, just mute the tweet,
Well,
and
see,
then the quoted retweets won't even start.
This is where I'm
Like-
saying it's about attention, dude. They like the attention.
But
They say they
and
know,
that-
but they do.
But that's why I get irritated with like this, like the developers, like on Reddit, and when you get feedback and everything on your forums, like you control your forums, you can control your own Reddit.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do that shit. And if someone's being an asshole, then delete them. Like it's not fucking hard. But don't sit up here and try to say, oh, your critiques are Bentley failed harassment. No, bro, you're just soft. Like, I agree with that dude's assessment. Y'all are just soft, bro. Like,
Yeah.
stop being soft. Like,
Yeah, right. Like, for instance, right? I said earlier in the show, right? I was talking about The Last of Us Part 1, is that it's like the Pittsburgh section of the game is my least favorite section of the game. And I was telling my brother earlier, like yesterday, I was talking to him about it, and I told him that section of the game sucks. I didn't say it like that on the show because, that's not as nice of a way to put it, right? But I do think that section of the game kind of sucks. And if I say that online, people are going to be like, oh, why are you being so mean to the devs, bro? It's like, I'm not being mean to the devs. I'm just saying that section of the game sucks to me. Like, it's not an objective fact, the thing I'm saying, right? Like,
it's not. It's subjective.
It's literally subjective. So stop taking it so personally. And if you want to talk to me about it, we can have a nuanced conversation about it, about why I don't like that section of the game. It's like, but that's the thing. Twitter's not that. So no one's going to do that. They're just going to be like, they're going to come to me and they're going to start lobbing rocks and they're going to be like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Why do you hate game developers, bro? Oh, fucking, like, what are you talking about? Why do I hate game developers? Like, where did that even come from? It's
bro,
like,
do you know how hard they worked on that section?
Oh
bro,
my fucking god! Yeah, right, dude. Exactly,
who are
dude.
you to tell? They had to go out and take pictures of
Oh my
Pittsburgh, bro.
God.
You
Yeah.
get it right,
Right.
bro. So who the fuck are you, bro? You're just a gamer, bro.
That's exactly how it goes. Like that's exactly how that kind of thing would go on Twitter, man. You know, it's just it's so that's
You
the point. It's so
not counting
stupid. It's
not counting that you praised every other part of the game. But you're like, no, this part sucks, and they just hone in on that part. You're like, oh, so you think the game fucking sucks?
right.
No,
I'm like, man, the story in The Last of Us part one is a fucking 10, bro. It's one of the greatest stories ever told. But yeah, that Pittsburgh section kind of sucks. I don't like it that much. But you know, it's like, oh, just that part. Don't forget, don't talk about the part where he says it's, you know, one of the best stories ever told. It's like, no, fuck this guy. He hates game devs, you know? It's like just I
well,
don't know.
that's the thing. Like, it's not just for Twitter too. It's like on fucking Reddit and
Yeah.
everything. There are
Hmm.
plenty of YouTube comments, and YouTube videos. Like, there are so many YouTube videos where people are actually giving. I mean, of course, they're funny, but they're like giving really good critiques of the video games. And people are like, oh well, because he made a joke about Halo Infinite. Like, your critiques go out the window. You're being an asshole, and it's like, what? Like, I'm pretty sure they say that shit about Ackman all the time, right? Or whoever other
Yeah.
gaming
Yeah.
people, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's why Skillup kind of like limited his jokes, because if he jokes about it or whatever, like, people are gonna be like, "Oh,
Well,
you're being an asshole" or whatever, like
yeah.
that, you know.
Well,
So,
he's also
like,
part of the in crowd now, so he's got to be a little careful, you know, with some of the
but
things he says, you know.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you shouldn't have to be careful. When I was trying to learn how to make video games and being like a character designer, people were fucking harsh. Like, especially online, you had to. But my teacher was like, you have to post your shit online, you have to post your shit on forums, and they will give honest feedback. And those people were harsh. Like, they weren't harsh as like your shit fucking sucks, but they'll critique it, and you're like, damn, I didn't even see all this shit. And you're like, okay, I gotta get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I saw like some stuff that I thought was just fucking amazing, like from other people when they posted it, like, they'll post it and then somebody will critique it into the ground, be like, yo, well,
Yeah.
this is off. This eye doesn't shift. This eye kind of shifted over here to the left, and
Hmm.
this one doesn't. And you're looking at it like, yo, that looks like it could be on a movie, but they critiqued it, right? And they take that feedback. So that's why, for me, as far as the gaming industry, that's why it's so weird to me that
Hmm.
this is the thing now. Because when I was growing up,
Yeah.
like, the people who were in the industry were super critical. People trying to get into the industry, and people who were even in the industry, that when they posted their stuff to get other jobs, they still posted to
Mm,
get, like, critiqued and stuff like that. Sure,
mm,
you had some dick writers or whatever who'd be like, oh my god, this is, like, one guy would post on it and they know that he works for, like, Sony or some shit like that, and they're, oh my god, this your portfolio is fucking amazing, and
yeah.
it's like, I can see some shit that's wrong with it, but it is a pretty decent portfolio. So I don't even know how the industry is now, because back then that was the thing. But now, since everybody's like sensitive, and I'm not
Mm,
trying to be like on this like Trump snowflake shit or whatever, right? But it's like everyone is like on some snowflake shit. Like, everybody's just really fucking soft on
yeah.
both sides, and it's just like,
Well,
it's so annoying.
I'm gonna give you an example. This isn't a developer, but it's kind of you kind of made me think about this while we were talking about all this. So there's this YouTuber named Joseph Anderson.
Mhm.
Pretty big, 695,000 subscribers. And he is a long form critiquer of games. He does game content, and he'll pick a game and he'll do like an hour and a half, 2 hour video on it.
Okay.
And if you look at this dude's YouTube, it goes back like 7 years, and he's got a good number of videos. I don't know, 50 probably. But they're pretty in depth videos, right? So they took him a lot of time to make. So I like this guy's content. I think he's a really good critique. He does really good critiques of games. But a couple years ago, actually April 6th, 2020 to be exact, actually right when the pandemic started, he releases a Witcher 1 critique. And this critique was 4 hours and 18 minutes. And this is
Wow.
the longest video he had ever done. And this was one of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen in my life. You know, I recommend it to everybody. Totally go watch this. If you played The Witcher 1 and you want like a big breakdown of it, I think this is a fucking fantastic video. And it's 4 hours and 18 minutes, right? You think that's insane for a YouTube video to like keep your attention for that long. but it totally did. Like, it totally does. I was fucking riveted by this. I remember, dude, I spent an entire night watching this. Like, I just watched it straight through. It's that good, right? So this dude makes this video, right? And he said he planned to make a Witcher 2 video and then a Witcher 3 video. So the Witcher 2 video took him another 6 months to release, and it came out on August 11th, 2020, which, looking at it now, is hilarious in retrospect. But back then, that gap between the first and second video, people were up this dude's ass, right? Like, they're like, bro, where's the second video? Where's the second Witcher video? You know, people are like so into this, right? And this dude started to get fucking so annoyed with this shit, right? He's like, I'm fucking working on it. It takes forever. This is a fucking 5-hour video. Shut the fuck up, right? So he releases the second one in August, right? 6 months after the first one. It's a 5-hour, 5-minute video. Similar to the first, very good, right? Extremely good video. Highly recommend it. So, but he teases the Witcher 3 video in the video, and dude, it's that video, the Witcher 3 critique, is still not out over 2 years later. This is 2 years and nearly 2 months later. Is still not out. And this dude became, for me, like, kind of he became a really annoying figure, because I followed him on Twitter. I still do, I think. And he doesn't tweet very often. But this dude had a Patreon. He had a Patreon. Keyword there, had. Past tense. And for over a year, he didn't release anything for a year after the Witcher 2 video. But he was getting Patreon money every month from people. He was getting ad revenue money and all this shit, right? And so to me, like, at a certain point, it kind of started to look a certain way, right? Like, dude, like, you're taking money from people for content that you are not giving them, right? You're not giving any content. You didn't release any videos in this year. So people started to, like, say these things to him. I never did, but people started to say this shit to him, and he got so fucking mad about it. You know, like, he got very, very defensive, and to the point that he just deleted his Patreon. He was like, look, I'm fucking done. I don't need the fucking money from the Patreon. I'm done with this. Okay, great, more power to you, dude. But you just got to understand that criticism wasn't, like, unreasonable for people to say, right? And now it's gotten to the point that we're like 2 years away from the Witcher 2 video, and the Witcher 3 video is still not out. And people will ask him about this, and he just gets so mad about it. He's just like, I don't like, dude, it'll be fucking done when it's done. But this is the annoying part, is this dude went on Twitter last year, like late last year, and was like, man, I'm almost done with the Witcher 3 video. It'll be out in like January. And here we are at like the end of September, and it's not out, you know? So it's like, he's like promising vague dates to people and not delivering on it, and people get annoyed by that, you know? But he's an example of, like, the criticism. He gets it, and he just, like, gets so mad about it. And it's even funnier because he released a hour and 40-minute video on Elden Ring after it came out. So he had the time to work on that, but not the Witcher video. It's like, I think it's to the point that he's literally not releasing it to spite people, you know, at a certain point, because people want it so bad. But it's like, that's kind of the whole, isn't that a microcosm of this whole discussion, though? Is that he, like, hates his fucking fan base, you know? Just the way game developers hate their fucking fan base, to the point that he is not releasing content that he promised because it's, like, almost out of spite, you know? And it's like, is it...
Well, at that point, when you start to hate the medium, like, just walk away.
That is exactly what I'm trying to say, is you've gotten, that's the whole point of this, is if you've gotten to that point where you hate the people that love your content, whatever you're making, video game, YouTube, or whatever, and you can't stand them, and you get pissed whenever they critique you or ask you a question about something that you promised them, you know, a long time ago, like, maybe it's a point where you kind of walk away, you know, and go do something else. And that's kind of my thought with some of these game devs, dude. If you're this, you know, sensitive to the point where, like, mild criticism of you, vague, by the way, mild, vague criticism, it's not even like levied at anyone specific, like, sets you off, you might need to take a step back and think about what you're doing with your life, you know, because what a random dude on Twitter thinks about your game is really not that important at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? That criticism, in my opinion, goes to the gamers as well.
True.
For me, for you, like, I hated when Madden became right. I stopped playing it because I got tired. Even to the point where we stopped talking about it, because we love Madden. Both me and you love Madden, or I love Call of Duty. I got to the point where I just stopped talking about it after like a year and a half of doing a podcast. Like I'm just gonna fucking stop talking about it.
Yeah.
When I see it, I'm not even gonna mention it or whatever the
Bro,
case.
it
I'm
was
like, oh
like the top game of this month for August, and we barely even mentioned it. Like, we're not even.
yeah,
I don't even want to talk about it anymore. You guys know our opinion
exactly.
on it. It's just like we don't need to keep
Yeah,
rehashing it. You know,
we don't need to keep rehashing it. And
stop buying
like for
Madden
us,
though.
right? You said what?
Stop buying Madden though. Sorry, continue.
But like even we started the podcast. I say this is like a Darth Vader, a Sith Lord podcast. We started it on hate. We started the podcast off the Blizzard shit, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that was the whole reason because we
Yep.
found out that both of us love Blizzard. We both had Blizzard products and everything, and we hated what it started becoming to the point where we were talking about it. And then I barely talk about Overwatch like at all. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about no Blizzard shit. Like we talked about even when we have a discussion about like Diablo 4, the discussion barely lasts like maybe 10 minutes. If that, because we just don't have any more else to say about it. We're done talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't play it, we don't touch their products anymore or anything like that. Um so like if you don't like I say this for gamers too, like if you're just tired of it, stop supporting it. Like your wallet will speak wonders. And like yeah, like maybe you're like one out of 3 million people, right? Like me and Justin haven't bought Madden in like almost 10 years. And it's like they're still making games at the same they're still making the same
Mm-hmm.
Maddens or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
eventually like something will come. Like people are just starting making videos about Madden, how it's been like the same for the last it changes like almost every 3 years, but fundamentally it doesn't change. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um so that being said, like for gamers as well, like if you want something to change, stop supporting it. Like I think Cyberpunk was like the first thing that actually had like the gamers had an impact on it because we were like, yo, I want my money back. This is not acceptable at all.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody spoke with their wallets. Like we criticized as well, but everybody spoke with their wallets. And then I still don't like the game because I just don't fundamentally like the game. Like it's not my game. But everyone who was a fan of the game, when they came back to it, they admitted that it's better. They love it.
Well, that game is having a little mini renaissance right now.
Exactly. And people love the game. People who love Cyberpunk and love the story, they are loving what's coming out of it. But we had to y'all had to fight. Like just don't forget that y'all had to fight just to get the game that y'all wanted. Like
Yeah.
I think people forget that shit. Like y'all had to fight for that. And it sounds like a revolutionary, but it's like it's consumer shit. Like you have to fight to get the products you want. So just like the developers need to have a backbone, gamers need to have a backbone as well, as far as like getting product stuff like we want. Because if you play Call of Duty, right, and
Mm-hmm.
you complain every fucking year about Call of Duty, and you like, I want this to change, they never fucking change it, never fucking change it. Grow some backbone, criticize them, give some honest feedback. If they still doesn't change, walk away from it.
Yeah.
That's what you can do. Like that's how you speak
Mm-hmm.
to that and take that criticism because they're obviously not taking it. You become the opposite of what developers come when you start harassing them. Now you're
Yeah.
just a bitch. You're like a little bitch boy now. You're crying that you can't get the product you want. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like both, like I said, both ways. And it's crazy that no one on the platform will have an honest conversation about this. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody. Like everybody I watch, they won't have this honest conversation about video games, the relationship between developers and gamers. Um, and that's why I'm hesitant to go on other podcasts because I am like, or that's why I'm hesitant for both of us to go on other podcasts because I am too honest as far as like what my feedback would be. Like if somebody will clip what I say, like, see, he hates developers, but then they won't clip the part where I said I also hate gamers too. So it's like
Yeah, right. Or they'll
yeah,
clip both separately and get us fucked in both with both communities.
exactly.
Yeah, man.
So
Shit.
I don't know. Like that's my soapbox. Like I just want if we want to have a if we want the culture to develop better, we both have to be honest and open to feedback, no matter how uncomfortable it may be and things of that nature. It's
It might
almost
even be a
like
little harsh sometimes.
it will be harsh. Like it will be harsh. Like um I don't know. This is like an extreme example, but like I can. me and one of my friends, I'm not gonna say his name, but obviously he voted for Trump, and then I didn't vote for Trump, right? But like, if you go by the media and the internet and every other piece of shit that you see, you would think people who voted for Trump are the worst pieces of shit in your life. They all deserve to like jump off a cliff, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I talked to the dude. I talked to him. We talked. I mean, we talk, and we had a nuanced discussion, and I understood some parts of it. Now we didn't agree on everything, but we came with an honest. We came back with like understanding of each other, and then our relationship got better because of that understanding and that honest conversation, that no bar conversation we had. And I think gamers and developers need to kind of understand that, need to have that discussion like in an honest forum with like no repercussions, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. My last comment on this is, to the gamer side of this is, care a little bit less about your games, guys. Like, you don't have to be so passionate about a game to the point that you are flaming a developer down or sending them death threats. You might need to reevaluate your life if you care
Or
about
cupcake.
a video game coming out so much that you're willing to do those things. So
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is just a fucking video game. Like,
there's
it's
thousands of them, tens of
and you know what?
thousands. Like,
I would give them the benefit of the doubt, and I understand. Like, some people say, like, this video game saved my life. It got me through a hard time, so that's why I love it so much. And it's like, yes, I understand that because I've been through that. But at the same time, you got to understand, they still don't owe you that. They don't owe you.
well, also,
A,
they gave you that one experience. You'll always have that.
exactly.
You're like chasing a high. You're probably not gonna get that again, like, realistically speaking. So I've had that experience with franchises before where you like the first one you play is so incredible, and you're like, holy shit, and then the next game comes out and you're like, not this is not the same. I'm having that experience with Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, I had it with 3, it's like fuck, dude. It sucks a little bit, but that doesn't mean I like hate Xenoblade Chronicles now, or like, I'm not excited about that whatever the next game is going to be. It's just, but the point is, like, there are thousands of video games for you to play, okay? While you're waiting for one, go play one of those other thousands. I'm sure there's another game somewhere in there that you can find that will fucking blow you away the way that the franchise you are highly anticipating did. So you just got to find it. But
Exactly.
being so hyper focused on one franchise or one IP, just like, I get it. Some people really hone in on shit like that and like get like hyper obsessed with it. But dude, it's sometimes it's a good thing to step away from that thing that you love so much and like go see something else. And it will give you perspective on that thing that you love that you may not have otherwise ever experienced, So it's kind of my thought. But all right, Montrell, I think that's it. I think we should wrap it up here. What do you say?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. All right, everybody. If you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you would like to send us a question that we will answer on the show, you can do so on Twitter at The Player's Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is going to be it for us, guys, this week. We hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week.